Welcome to this video dedicated to the infamous Mace of Smiting in the world of Dungeons & Dragons. If you're a fan of this epic role-playing game, then you surely know how iconic and versatile the Mace of Smiting can be within fantasy adventures. In this comprehensive guide, we'll explore every aspect of this weapon, from its mythical origins to its variations throughout the editions of D&D. We'll also discover how players can best harness the potential of the Mace of Smiting in their campaigns, whether it's dealing brutal damage in combat or cleverly tackling magical puzzles. So, sit back and get ready to delve into the fascinating world of the Mace of Smiting in Dungeons & Dragons. But first, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this type of content. The Mace of Smiting is an iconic weapon in the role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons. It is a melee weapon consisting of a mace with a long chain at one end, to which a small metal ball or a pole with a bludgeoning weapon at the end is attached. The main feature of the Mace of Smiting is its ability to inflict damage both up close and from a distance, allowing the player to strike enemies with power even from a certain distance. This makes it a very versatile and popular weapon among Dungeons & Dragons players, especially for warrior or barbarian characters. In Dungeons & Dragons, D&D, the Mace of Smiting stands out for several characteristics. Bludgeoning damage. The Mace of Smiting deals bludgeoning damage, ideal for breaking through armor and physical resistances of enemies. Versatility. Thanks to the long chain, the Mace of Smiting allows for striking both up close and from a distance, offering the player a range of tactical options during combat. Power. The Mace of Smiting is known for its destructive power, ideal for bringing down sturdy opponents and resisting attacks. Visual impact. The appearance of the Mace of Smiting, with its snaking chain and imposing weight, makes it an impressive and intimidating weapon on the battlefield. Use in close combat and at a distance. The combination of a bludgeoning weapon and a long chain allows the player to effectively deal with both close-range and distant enemies. Customization. In many editions of D&D, players can customize their Mace of Smiting with spells or special abilities, making it an even more lethal and unique weapon. In summary, the Mace of Smiting in Dungeons & Dragons is a versatile and powerful weapon that offers players multiple options during exploration and combat in their fantasy adventures. The Mace of Smiting in Dungeons & Dragons can be utilized in combination with various strategies and combos to maximize its potential in combat. Here are some common strategies and combos. Area damage. An effective strategy is to use the Mace of Smiting to hit multiple enemies simultaneously. This can be achieved by strategically maneuvering to align enemies and then using multi-target attacks or attacks that deal adjacent damage. Disarm enemies. Thanks to the long chain of the Mace of Smiting, players can attempt to disarm enemies by striking their weapons to make them fall to the ground or even tear them from the hands of enemies. Grab and control enemies. By using the chain of the Mace of Smiting, players can try to wrap or immobilize enemies, limiting their movements and making them vulnerable to attacks from teammates. Fight from elevated positions. Due to the length of the Mace of Smiting's chain, players can leverage elevated positions to strike enemies from above, increasing their reach and gaining a tactical advantage during combat. Deal damage to moving targets. The Mace of Smiting can be effective against fleeing or moving enemies, thanks to its ability to strike mobile targets with the long chain, even as the player moves or is moved. Spell pairings. Some classes or characters can combine the use of the Mace of Smiting with spells or special abilities to enhance its potential. For example, a warrior might use spells that increase their strength or agility to inflict even greater damage with the Mace of Smiting. These are just some of the many strategies and combos that players can employ with the Mace of Smiting in Dungeons & Dragons, showcasing the versatility and adaptability of this iconic weapon. Here are some advantages and disadvantages of using the Mace of Smiting in Dungeons & Dragons. Advantage. Versatility. The Mace of Smiting offers both melee and ranged attacks thanks to its chain, allowing the player to adapt to a variety of combat situations. Bludgeoning damage. The bludgeoning damage inflicted by the Mace of Smiting is effective against creatures vulnerable to this type of damage, such as undead or creatures made of stone or metal. Range. The chain of the Mace of Smiting allows for striking enemies from a distance, avoiding the risk of opportunity attacks from enemies. Battlefield control. The The length of the Mace of Smiting's chain allows the player to influence enemy movement by wrapping or restraining them, thus providing a tactical advantage to the team. Impressive and intimidating. The Mace of Smiting is an imposing and intimidating weapon, which can influence enemy behavior and boost the confidence of teammates. Disadvantage. Maneuverability issues. The chain of the Mace of Smiting can become an obstacle in tight or crowded environments, making it difficult to maneuver the weapon in confined spaces. Possibility of snags. The chain of the Mace of Smiting may get tangled or break in certain situations, rendering the weapon less effective or even unusable. Weight and bulkiness. The Mace of Smiting is a heavy and bulky weapon, which may limit the character's mobility during combat or exploration situations. Competitiveness with other weapons. In some situations, the Mace of Smiting may be less effective than other weapons specialized for specific combat scenarios, such as piercing weapons against creatures with resistance to bludgeoning damage. Skill requirement. Effectively using the Mace of Smiting requires a certain level of skill from the player, especially in maximizing its versatility and range. Here are some interesting trivia about the Mace of Smiting in Dungeons & Dragons. Inspiration from real weapons. The concept of the Mace of Smiting is inspired by various historical weapons, such as the medieval flail, which consisted of a handle with a chain ending in a blunt head. However, the deity Mace of Smiting is often depicted in a more fanciful and elaborate manner. Icon of barbarians. The Mace of Smiting is often associated with barbarians in D&D, as it represents their brutality and predisposition for close combat. However, it is also used by other classes such as warriors, paladins, and clerics, demonstrating its versatility. Popularity in illustrations. The Mace of Smiting is a very popular weapon in the illustrations and imagery of Dungeons & Dragons. Many artworks and miniatures depict heroes wielding imposing maces of smiting, giving them an epic and powerful appearance. Magical variants. In the vast universe of D&D, there are numerous magical variants of the Mace of Smiting, each with unique and powerful abilities. For example, it could be enchanted to deal additional damage or to have special effects during combat. Role in adventure stories. The Mace of Smiting can become an integral part of a character's story or adventure. For example, it could be the legendary weapon of an ancient hero, an object of desire for a treasure hunter, or a magical artifact with a key role in the fate of the world. Object of customization. Many players love to customize their Mace of Smiting, adding decorative details, engravings, or magical enchantments to make it unique and distinctive in the game world. These trivia show how the Mace of Smiting is a significant and fascinating part of the Dungeons & Dragons universe, both mechanically and narratively. In conclusion, the Mace of Smiting in Dungeons & Dragons proves to be not only a powerful and versatile weapon but also a timeless icon of the courage and determination of our heroes. Whether you are a valiant warrior proudly wielding this fearsome weapon or a skilled spellcaster who knows its deepest secrets, always remember that the Mace of Smiting is much more than just a weapon. It is a symbol of adventure, of challenges overcome, and of legends passed down through time. Keep exploring the vast world of Dungeons & Dragons, and may your Mace of Smiting always be by your side in your epic endeavors. Thank you for joining us, and may your adventures be filled with glory and triumphs.